Cause if you don't say something, who gonna say something?
It's just you in that joint. Like, half the time it just be you on the floor. Right. So it's like you gotta address them. You know what I mean?
If you don't want to do that shit, but then it's like you let it slide, then it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Keep saying little things here and there, Next thing you know, you snapping out.
Right, and now you look like the aggressor. Right. And then you end up losing your situation because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh man, the price went up, much larger fee to pay.
Welcome back to the Computer Quis channel. I am Qis, and today we're back with another episode of the My Tech Story interview series. I got my man Tariq here. We go back to SLA. You probably the third person from SLA.
Okay.
Ninth grade and shit. So it's been a nice little minute.
Yeah.
We also did this joint virtually. I think you was like the maybe the fourth one I did virtually.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like it was good practice. For like the audio wasn't. I wasn't feeling like from my end. So I'm glad we're getting to redo this joint. I appreciate you coming out here and everything.
Already for sure.
For sure. So we did your joint. What was that, like August?
Yeah, it was. August, it must have been like August. Yeah, it was before busy season. Season really picked up. I'm
sure a good little bit has changed since then. So
yeah.
And I've done so many of these that like it's gonna be like a new story anyway. I probably remember some stuff, but like no, I'm glad we doing this. Let me get my notes. All right, bet. So we just want to get into like know a little bit about you. So start off with your name. You don't gotta remember everything, but your name, age, location, hometown, race or ethnicity, fun fact, and then like interests outside of tech or outside of what you do.
That's a lot.
You don't gotta remember everything.
Yeah.
I'll keep you on track.
Let me see what I can do. All right, so I'm Tariq Smith. I'm 30. I was born in Philly. I'm black, African American, race, ethnicity. Fun fact about me, I'm left-handed. I feel like I'm very creative. I feel like left-handed people generally are very creative people. And I forget, it was one more question.
Interests outside of tech. You had basically all of them, but like interests outside of work.
My interests outside of work, I guess I had to say music. Yeah, at this point, like really, really deep into music for sure. Yeah, like as you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that I know that you DJ and stuff like that. Is that what like you making your own songs, or are you like putting the mixes together? Like what does that entail?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. I would say. So depending on the situation, like if I'm at home, like or if I'm doing something virtually, I might be able to put like a certain vocal track and a certain beat together and record that. I'll record that in like Audacity or some other recording software like OBS, and from there, then I can like show a client, hey, this is an example of what it would be like if you were to hire me. You see what I'm saying? But if I'm like actually live at an event, it just depends on like if I get a request. It depends on like what the client wants. Depends on the venue, like demographic of the people that's kind of there. And so it could really go anywhere. But yeah, for sure. That's part of the reason why I love it. You know what I mean? It's just you get a chance to like, get into it and just interact with the people and show off that creative juice, and you already know what that feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no other feeling like that.
Yeah, somebody f***ing with your shit. Like, how long you been doing it?
I guess I'd say like unofficially 2012.
Okay. Damn. That's when we graduated.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like when I went off to college, like it was just like going to parties. You know what I mean? Somebody had to be on the aux back then. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just pick it up, and next thing you know, people vibing with shit. Your stuff. Then cool. Yeah. Whatever you put on, and you just keep going. But then I guess officially, like I started like first like job like working. I would say would be 2018. And then that's really when I dived deep into the weddings. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I was hoping you would mention that. So like we were talking about this before the interview, but so you I mean, would you classify it as like a like a wedding. What would you even call that? Like a wedding company, not like a wedding entertainment company, kind of, because you do the photography, the videography, and the DJing, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, and then we also carry the photo booths, and we carry the ambient lighting, uplights, like sparklers.
It did the same thing, like not too long ago. But yeah, you're talking about the lights.
Yeah, we also carry the uplights, so they sit on the ground and they shoot straight up in the air. So, I mean, if you place them strategically along the wall, you can have different colors, and depending on what colors, you know what I mean, is their colors for the day, their color scheme, you can match it to that. You know what I mean, monograms, like they just have like the silhouette of their names or their initials, you know what I mean, shining somewhere. So just basically the whole, like I say, entertainment package, anything that's not, I say food or flowers, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like we pretty much encompass it. Or if we don't do it, then we have a referral, right. You know what I mean, for somebody that does. Yeah.
No, we gonna play that at the end. Make sure y'all hit him up for y'all weddings. Yeah. We at that age where like people married. We know, you know what I'm saying, getting married.
Oh yeah, people get married every year, yo. And as we seen with COVID, like it's not promised. So people, I understand. You know what I mean, you want to take that leap. Hey, I'm with you. Let's get it.
Yeah, definitely. If I get there, I hit you up. Right now, no.
Nah.
But all right, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more later, because I want to see where you see that going. But all right, so we're gonna get into your story. So, what do you do? For how long? And then if you feel comfortable, like a salary or salary range or something like that.
Yeah. So currently, what I do is I work as a PC tech. I won't say the company's name because I'm not gonna give them no free promo, but I will say it's one of the largest healthcare providers in the state of Pennsylvania. And so I work at IT, and so I essentially fix any and everything technology related within the confines of a hospital, right? So, you know what I mean, computers, you have printers, you know what I mean, you have like the little carts that they push around. Some of them have like robots that go around and like clean certain things. So just a variation of anything technology based. But for the most part, I work with like specific projects. So whenever the hospital is expanding, or you know, they have a certain line of computers that they're now like refreshing and getting rid of or upgrading from, you know, they'll call me in to be on that project and help facilitate that.
Gotcha. How long you been doing that?
I've been here since March.
Oh, so it's kind of
almost
like
a year.
Almost a year.
A little less than a year. Yeah.
So like, are they giving you the training, or is this stuff that they expect you to know already? So
I'll say this, first and foremost, it's a contract. So as a contractor, like, you expected to know a certain level of you know, what the job is. But to be honest, I feel like I'm a quick learner, and I could pick up anything as long as I ask the right questions and just, you know what I mean, be a sponge. Yeah, I think it was pretty easy, you know what I mean? Just I naturally like computers. I mean, we grew up with them in SLA, so there's nothing, you know what I mean, foreign to me to just pick one up. So to just be able to fix it and you know, keep it pushing, that's cool.
Are you so like when I started out with my popping shit, I was doing like the hardware technical type of stuff. So are you dealing more with like the software, or are you dealing more with like getting in there and replacing parts and stuff like that?
It's a little combination of both.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I might get a direction or an order that says, hey, we need to replace these 10 HPs in this one conference room. So within that, I'll image the actual, you know, computers themselves. I'll put the software in, and if they need specific applications, depending on what part of the hospital, like what they're working with, whether it's like billing or whether it's, you know what I mean, something with HR, like we will install specific apps depending on the builds. But you know, otherwise I am actually like going physically there and like to their site and to their office and to their location and like physically putting the computer there, plugging everything in, you know what I mean, turning it on, verifying, testing, you know what I mean, mapping the printers, making sure that everything is the way that they need to the next time that they come down to sit at their desk.
You doing a job that people don't really be thinking about. Like when you're working in the office and stuff, it's a lot of like little infrastructure type stuff that gotta happen. Even recently in my job, we recently got the stand-up desk. So like you would see the guys coming in, and they're replacing the desk, but they also got to understand like the wiring and stuff for the desk, for all the stuff over there. All everything still got to work the same when we get the new desk. And that's not really something we think about. We just coming in there. I'm coming in there to write my code. I'm dipping. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like I love hearing like the kind of the behind the scenes. Because even when we go to like a conference room, being able to plug into the little joint,
the network jack,
and then like have you got the screen, you got like the little, I don't even know what they call it, like little microphones on the table, kinda. All that, mics, like all the little stuff that we don't think about. We just use it. And that's kind of like what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's tough.
So in addition to like, the actual software and the hardware aspect of it, like it's a little bit of logistics too, because like we managing the shipment and the facilitation of all this equipment that's coming in, right? It's like TVs. I think about the time you go into a hospital, like an ER or something like that, it's large TVs, you know what I mean, on the walls and such. So, we kind of store all that and we manage that. And whenever it's time to like deploy that kind of stuff,
you just gotta go get it. And
just go, I mean, so it's a lot of travel, but it's cool though. It's not difficult really whatsoever.
So are you do you have like a certain area that you work in, or are they sending you like around the state?
It's generally, with my project, it's generally been in the central part of the state. Central part of the state. They do have different, I guess, satellite branches throughout different areas of the state where I think if I'm in that actual county or that actual like city, then I work on projects there. But
got you.
Where I'm at, it's right in the central part of the state.
Alright, so you've been there almost a year. Where were you before that?
So I was with the same contracting company, but I was on a different contract. This was actually a government contract.
Okay.
This was out in Mechanicsburg.
What's that, Jersey?
No, it's actually PA. It's just outside of Harrisburg.
Mechanicsburg?
Mechanicsburg, yep.
Never heard that.
Yeah, Mechanicsburg, yeah. It's just outside of, it's like 15 minutes outside of Harrisburg. It's a pretty affluent area for sure. But yeah, it's heavily like military activity out there for the state, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty centrally located, so that was a huge operation, you know what I mean? It's naturally what you would think about, like, you know what I mean, if you ever play Call of Duty or you ever play any of those games where it's just like a huge warehouse, bunch of warehouses, like you just it's just like that, just nothing, barren fields and just, you know what I mean, just warehouses and just work getting done for various different things.
So you're doing similar work, right, for that?
It was work with computers. It wasn't so much the deploying aspect of it. I wasn't doing as much like in the field aspect of it, but I was definitely on the back end, like imaging and doing the logistics aspect of it.
So you was like taking care of them before the stuff got sent out?
Correct.
Setting it up? Okay.
Correct, yeah.
How long were you doing that?
I did that from July of 22 to March of 23, so just about the same, like,
okay.
I would say probably like 8 or 9 months.
What about before that?
So before that, I guess in tech, I would say, I'm sorry, I'm going back chronologically here.
No, yeah, that's cool.
I guess the next thing I would say is probably like, this wasn't my thing, but I was definitely supporting somebody that I rock with, his business, and he has a technology business that teaches the elderly how to use technology, and like, you know what I mean, one-on-one tech support for like the elderly, you know what I mean, whether in person, virtual, Zoom, group settings, you know what I mean, all throughout, you know what I mean, the state. So just kind of working through some things, using some prior background, some prior skill sets that I had. You know what I mean, just being able to like be an educator, especially to like that demographic of people, like 55 and up community.
It's definitely something that's needed, I would say. Was that like your first tech job?
Nah, I would say my first tech job, I was definitely working at Apple.
Apple?
Yeah.
So what year was that?
That was 2014.
Okay. Was that during school?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was in school, yeah.
So you did the Apple, you was like the genius part, right?
Yep.
And then, until when?
2017.
2017. So like I said, times around, like did you go from that to helping out your friend with his joint?
So, yes, I did, but at the same time as that, I actually branched off into a different career in finance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was actually working in banking for like 3 years. At the same time, while helping him, but yeah, that was like my primary. I had like dipped completely out of tech for a little bit because my mindset was like, yo, I need some money, like, you know what I mean, I gotta figure out how money works. So like every time I go to the bank, it's not a good time. So I just want to figure out how this works. And so I happen to know somebody, and it's crazy because they actually saw me. I don't know if I should share this. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Don't share it if you can. Yeah.
But yeah,
I could cut it out too if you want me to.
Yeah. But now, honestly, it was just a relationship. Like, I was helping somebody at my previous job, and then they was just like, yo, if you are, I like the way that you have customer service, and I like the way that you.
Yeah, there shouldn't be nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah, but then they was like, if you ever need a job, you know what I mean, here, boom, popped in the interview, got that joint, and I just dipped out. It was a move that made sense because at the time, my life, I was looking for some like extra time in my hands to get extra income, but you know what I mean, with the Apple retail life, like you gotta be present 7 days a week, like, or not present, but like available 7 days a week. Yeah. So, you know what I mean, that just wasn't conducive. I wanted to make some extra bread. Well, how can I schedule something else? So, you know what I mean, the finance thing that's easy. That's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Yeah. Cool. Now I got my weekends.
You got
and then that's really when I started picking up. You know what I mean, with the music, and yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like getting that full
spectrum,
kind of, like the job journey there. So seeing how you went from, working with Apple, making that switch, but then you kind of switched back. So let me see what's next. I guess this kind of goes into that. So what got you interested in tech? And I'm gonna ask this kind of in a way that like also ask you what made you pivot back from working in financing. Finances? Yeah. So what first got you interested in tech, and then what made you switch back?
I guess I would say, I probably would have to say it was like just the exposure, definitely at SLA, just to having it, you know what I mean, just being around it. Because, like, especially when we first got there, it was, you could do anything on the Jones, like, on the little MacBooks. You could do anything.
Really?
And we wasn't, we was taking advantage of it. Right. And, like, the people before us didn't have those, so they were just as knowledgeable as we were. So it's kind of like we was that first generation to just really rock with it. And so I feel like just having it in my hands, then of course going to college, you using technology. At that point, we all got iPhones at that, or phones at that point, cell phones. So social media's popping off. So you just, you stay current with the trends. And then, next thing you know, for me, it's always about who you know. For me, it was always like my journey into tech and kind of where I've been throughout tech has always been who I know and the referral. So like, I had the interest, and like I mentioned, like I'm a quick learner. I'm a sponge. I can learn pretty much a lot of things. So it was just like, if a door gets opened and I can seize that opportunity, I'm rocking with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as long as it's an upgrade in life, like that's really where we're moving. Yeah.
So you, for one, being able to like see an opportunity and sees it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's definitely a trait that a lot of people don't have. So I think, you know, that's commendable for sure. But then you mentioned the exposure, and that's something that keeps coming up with these joints. It's like the difference between being in tech and not being in tech is like that early exposure. And so you talk about like high school. Remember we would like be on the LAN playing like Halo
during science class.
What was that? Was it Urban Terror? You remember that, John?
Oh man, it was a couple of them that we had, man.
That I used to love that shit, yo. Getting on the LAN and just like playing each other, we talking shit all in the room.
It's like 12 of us deep, 10 of us deep. Yeah, nobody's paying attention in class.
Bro. Yeah. But like you said, that exposure to that, and like, you know, going to that school with laptops, and we could argue that it probably could have been a little more guidance on them, parental guidance or something. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, like just having that access, I think was definitely very important. Yeah. So let me see. All right, so when you got into finances, what brought you back into this? Was it like you mentioned the referral? So like, was it just seeing that opportunity was there and then taking that?
I mean, at the time, I'll be honest, I was a little bit drained from corporate America. I was in it for a couple of years, and especially during the pandemic, the financial space got real ugly. Especially when you start talking about some of the government programs that they was doing, and you know what I mean, the stimulus checks, and like just how people was reacting to like the money at that time. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and so at that point I was just like, yo, I know I already got a couple of different streams of income. I'm gonna just try to survive off, you know what I mean, my other skills for right now. So I had jumped out of like the corporate space for a little bit, for like 2 years, and then you know, just realized that like some of the goals that I had, like I needed to just propel that a little quicker. So you know what I mean, the quickest way to just get some bread is, you know what I mean, go get some work. You know what I mean, go work this 9 to 5 for a little bit. It's not permanent, but you know what I mean, it's always like a catalyst. Right now I can just keep the bread coming in. So I guess that was like the start of the contracts and stuff. Yeah. All right. Let me think. Do I want to ask you this now? All right, I'll ask that later. I do want to ask you, because I meant to ask you this earlier. Do you feel like doing like you did the year contract and you on this almost a year contract? So, how do you like that? How do you like the contracts, trying different things, or would you prefer something where, because you like you said, you was in the financial job for like 2 years, right? 3 years.
3 years doing similar work, I would assume.
No, actually, it was completely different.
You was trying different stuff there too?
Yeah, in finance, yeah.
So what do you prefer then? What do you think? Like, do you like the idea of trying this thing, or would you prefer something that's like long term?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely prefer something that's more long term stability in terms of like employment status. Yeah. So like the contracting it's not ideal, but I also understand that like, again, if you need a certain amount of money for a specific goal, like I just got to ride it out until I can. And really the pivot from the one contract to the other was because the contract was ending. Right. So that's another thing with the contracting. If anybody wants to get into, tech contracting, like it's very lucrative and you can make, solid, decent salaries. But just be mindful that like, when the work is done, the work is done. Yeah. And you kind of just gotta figure it out. You just gotta figure it out. Like there's no other way to sugarcoat it. Yeah, exactly. It's more or less just like, be resourceful. And so I was able to quickly pivot. I found this contract that I'm on, and so the good thing about this one is this contract to hire. So that's good. As they open up positions, they're able to fill those with people that have already been demonstrating the work. So there's this kind of that silver lining, but with all of these contracts, you got to be open and available. Something might come up that's just might be a better opportunity, better fit for you. Right. And so just not say 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but you kind of always keep your ear to the streets. While you still rocking with that company.
Yeah, I kind of touched on that in my John because I think we probably talked about this before, but I did like a bunch of little contracts, seeing different stuff I like, and it's cool because you get to try different things and like see, all right, I like this, I don't like this, I like this work style, but like you said, like when that joint over, it don't matter what you like. That shit over. Like
It's over.
It's done for you. Like so. Yeah, I can see how like whether you like that genre or not, it's all temporary.
Yeah.
Either way. So, I guess when we get into like where you see yourself going, I ask you more about like that stuff. So you mentioned that you changed positions or changed industries basically. But what was your original plan? Like coming out of school, what did you originally want to do?
So it's crazy. So again, my degree is in communication. My bachelor's in communication, but the concentration was TV and radio broadcasting. So I always wanted to just be on TV, Sports Center. You know what I mean? Just be like Stuart Scott, Stephen A, one of those, you know what I mean, personalities. But then once I was in school, I kind of understood like the industry and like I wasn't really fond of it. Of course, like some of the things you have to do to like prove yourself and like work your way up. I just, you know, I didn't believe that going to school, especially paying all this money for all this debt just to get out and then work a intern job at the worst times of the night, you know what I mean, just doing the worst jobs, getting people coffee, like just to like possibly get an opportunity to like get on TV when somebody gets sick, like that wasn't really my twist. And you know, I respect the people that do it, you know what I mean. I still have a love for like the sports and like the news aspect of it, but just the industry was very cliquey. It was very like who you know. It was very everybody wanting to be around the people that's popular at that moment, and that's just not how I really, you know what I mean, I vibe. So, and again, the other opportunities was just based on who I know. I knew somebody that was at these other opportunities, so that's how I was able to pivot.
So, at what point did you realize like this not it for me?
I would probably say between my freshman and my sophomore year.
Damn, so pretty early.
Yeah, I feel like it was too late.
You think too late?
Yeah, I honestly wish I figured that out before high school, before college. You know what I mean?
But I mean, you why didn't you change your major then? Cause you still was doing gen eds at that time, right? So
what I did, and I guess I'm learning, I might have did it backwards. I actually finished up most of my like core classes early. Like I was done most of them by my sophomore year, so I was already like invested in the major. So I'm like, all right, I might as well just finish this joint out. All I gotta do is take gen eds to just graduate. Like I already know.
How did you do that? I didn't know you could do that.
So the one thing, again, I worked a lot in college, so I would take classes in like summer. I would take classes in winter. I would take like classes during the other semesters, so that.
So by what was the equivalent of sophomore year for me was probably more like credit wise, more so your like junior year probably.
Yeah, so like those classes traditionally you could take in your like you would take in your junior year. I was taking them in like my sophomore year, like freshman year, like sophomore year.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Because I was working so much, I was working between like the breaks and whatnot. So yeah.
Okay. So damn. All right. So you finish with communications. But by that point, you know you don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you told me this last time. All right, so let me see.
Well, you know, it's tough, right? It's communication. Like it's such a broad spectrum. Like what does that really mean, right? Like you use communication in everything that we do.
Yeah. So
it's like it's not that I don't want to like get a job in like that like space communication, but it's more or less like that concentration of like the TV and the radio. You know what I mean? Like we didn't see radio transform over the last 15 years. It's something completely different now. You know what I mean? With Sirius, and now you got like Twitch, and then you got, you know what I mean, streaming, like different apps like Apple Music, Tidal, like 15 years ago, it was like the radio. Like you had to turn it, you know what I mean, to a certain frequency. Yeah. Now it's like not that many people listen to the radio. Most people get in the car and put the Bluetooth on. Yeah. You know what I mean? So again, it's just another old industry that was I really saw was not like it was not flourishing in the future. Whereas the tech really was, you know what I mean?
Right. No, it's kind of crazy because I don't think you told me this last time, so it's kind of feel like new information for me. But all right, so coming out of school, you got your communications joint. Like you said, that can apply to a lot of stuff. Yeah. So what did you do coming out of school? What year was that? Like 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 2016. I graduated.
So coming out of school, that would be around the time when you were you still at Apple at that time? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you came out, you had your degree, but you weren't really using it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So how did that feel to like finish, and then still kind of be working where you basically was already working?
I mean, I was full time already at Apple, so
yeah. So nothing really changed, right? So
my schedule just lightened up for real. I just didn't have classes no more. Right. So I mean, I was making decent money. I had great benefits, a lot of time off. Again, that's a great company, so I'm not going to knock anybody if they want to work there. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like, all right, this makes sense for me to just like continue my lifestyle. You know what I mean? To continue to elevate. And again, I still, I have a love for those things. Like, you know what I mean? I appreciate like watching SportsCenter. I appreciate watching the news, CNBC, all that stuff. But yeah, for me, it was just like, nah, I don't want to put myself in that space.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So tech is just. I mean, it's just the future, bro. It's just, I mean, it's so many opportunities, and it's just getting more and more and more. Whereas, I mean, we be seeing all these job cuts on ESPN every couple of years. I mean, a bunch of people getting laid off. Yeah,
and like you said, the industry different. Like, which I never really thought about, but I listened to the radio for the first time last week. Because the Eagles game was on, I was driving back from like 30 minutes away. Yeah. Only reason I turned the radio on.
Facts.
So like, I feel you. And it's smart that you noticed that then. I guess in a way, I mean, obviously, shit worked out for you. But I like to ask people that ended up switching, like, do they wish they would have switched sooner? But it sounds like for you, regardless, you were able to get what you needed to out of the major. You knew that it was, the specific job wasn't for you, but you being open to opportunities kind of set you up more than anything. So do you feel like you needed school? And after this, we're gonna get into like where you went to school and everything.
Yeah, I feel like I needed the experience that school brought me. I definitely feel like education is something that, just as a whole, I think needs to be transformed. And we can get into that too, but yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, truthfully, like, I appreciated like the social aspect, and like, for the first time, I think that was like, I mean, yeah, we grew up in Philly, it's a diverse city, but that's really where you were around like a bunch of people from all over the world, and like you there for a common goal, like everybody's there for that thing. So, you just kind of, you kind of see life a little differently from that lens, and I appreciated that. I feel like now I could go into any space, I could go into any room, whether, I'm in our neighborhood where we grew up, or if I'm, in an office meeting, boardroom, I can, have conversations in any dynamic in front of any amount of people. Yeah. So I appreciate like the lessons that it's taught me, like that the experience taught me. I would again prefer to not have the debt. I would of course prefer, to not like we was eating Uncrustables and just draw, just that experience. If I didn't have to like go through that, right, that would be ideal. But yeah, no, I don't really look back and be like, nah, I'm glad I didn't go. But yeah, it's just now I just take the things from it and try to apply that to my life.
No, that's a great way of looking at it for sure. Yeah. No, I love that. So, all right, I guess we've been talking about school. Where did you go to school? We know that you studied communications. And then I want to get into where you got like your certs and everything.
Yeah, so I went to Millersville.
How far is that from Philly? Like an hour?
It's like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. And then what was the next one?
Yeah, like your certs and everything.
Oh yeah, so right now I'm holding the Qomputer, the Sec Plus. Yeah, and so that's within like the security space.
When did you get those?
I got that joint in, I want to say it was October of 22.
Okay. Oh, so that was pretty recent. Both of them.
Yeah.
What'd you do to get them? Like, did you go through the Qomputer, like the official site for them, or was it like offered through something else?
Yeah, so I was in at the time I was working in the government sector, so they actually have programs that they actually send like all of their employees, whether you're in Army, Navy, you know what I mean, Marines, like they have certain like courses that they send those people to. And so the company that I was working for was affiliated with the government, so they was able to get us in those same classes. And so essentially it was a I guess you could call it a 4-week
kind of like a boot camp type of
boot
thing?
camp. Yeah, it was basically like Saturday and Sunday, like once a week, Saturday and Sunday for like 8 hours straight, from like 9 to 5 on a Saturday and Sunday, like 4 straight weeks. But that pretty much like accelerated all the information, and then at the end of it, because they gave you like the training resources and the materials and like the labs and like the simulations online that you could go do. So they provided the infrastructure, but then the company provided the like the voucher for the course. Like, so I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to pay for that. That course is like almost 2 stacks. Yeah. Two grand. So, that was cool. I just had to pay for the test.
So finishing the course got you both of them?
So finishing the course got me the Sec Plus. Okay. I had some other certs from previously from working at Apple that, when you move up and you get that genius position, you gotta obtain. Yeah. But yeah, that's the security. That was more or less just like a boot camp.
So by the time you got that though, you was already in the government contract?
Yeah, so it was a unique situation where it was pretty much like I guess they would call it like an interim hire, essentially. So like you could work for like 6 months, but you had to obtain that cert within 6 months of like your hire date. And if not, you just lost your job. You just, see you. But again, they provided the course, so it's just like you might as well just do it. You know what I mean? And then just pass the test. Right. I went through college. I graduated. I know how to pass the test. We don't keep it a stack. I know how to study. Like so.
So that was more so. I mean, I guess to keep the job, you had to get it too. But like also seeing that opportunity. So it seemed like grasping opportunities is like what you do. Like that kind of defines your kind of your path a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, it's really just who you know, like at the right time, at the right place. I mean, it could just set you on a whole different trajectory. And I guess I've definitely been blessed to like be around some dope people. And the right people. Just keep me on the straight and narrow. You feel me?
Right. So all right. So also with this knowledge portion of it, like where do you go to gain knowledge now? Like to stay, like you mentioned, tech is changing. It's always changing. So what do you do to stay fresh with it, to make sure that you're not like falling behind?
Yeah, that's a real good question. So, especially I'll say this to any of my people with a 9 to 5. A lot of times, like the 9 to 5 will have like a training material that you gotta do annually. Just like poke around in there, because like some of the annual trainings that you might have to do for your role might be cumbersome or might be like just whack, but some of the other ones that like don't apply to your job could be beneficial. And so like now I'm looking at some ones that's also in cybersecurity going higher, but like I'm not necessarily actively working in the cybersecurity, but I'm still educating myself based on the infrastructure that the 9 to 5 provides. You know what I mean? A Friday at 4 o'clock, you know what I mean? You get out at 5, like everything's
just knock out a little
training. You know what I mean? Educate yourself there. Like we was talking about. At that government one, I was driving so far. It was like an hour of a drive each way. So I was listening to a lot of people on like YouTube. Professor Messer, he's one of the ones. If you in that space, in the security space, you check out his material. It's like it's very thorough. I'll say it's boring, but like it's very informational, but it's very, very thorough. And so if you could just pay attention to that, yeah, you'll learn what you need to pass this, you know what I mean, get the cert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's great advice. I never ever thought about like, let me get on this John and see what other
Johns.
Cause then that give you a whole different perspective. Damn. Nah, you just gave me something that I'm about to do. Yeah. That's a good John, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. Yeah. I'm gonna see what's up for sure. Cause just getting that other perspective or knowing what other positions, like their expectations are and stuff like that, I think that, yeah, that'll help a lot in a lot of different places. That's a good job. And then like YouTube, LinkedIn, stuff like that.
Right.
Being able to like just listen to them Johns on yeah. Cause you could have been listening to music, you could have been doing anything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Taking that time, you got this time anyway. You got to do this job anyway.
Facts.
Let me make the most out of it by learning something. You know? Yeah. I love shit like that, dog. Like that's so tough to me. Yeah. Let me see where we at. All right, bet. We talked about this before, obviously, but I don't remember fully. So like, what has your experience been like as a black man?
Like in this space, in the tech space?
Yeah, in tech.
I mean, I'll definitely say it's few and far between. Like, we are few and far between. Black people in general, black women as well. Yeah. I think it's super, underrepresented, I guess, is the way I guess I would phrase it. But it's also an industry that I feel like our people have been kind of not afraid of, but like nervous about, and like they haven't necessarily taken the time to just like dive straight into it. Like at its inception, as like other communities, I would say have.
I mean, I think black people are like naturally skeptical also, so like, yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, a lot of trauma, a lot of like things passed down generationally. Like it'll have you being like, nah, I don't want to try that. Like we always the ones that we be the last ones to use the app.
Yeah, right.
We be like, oh, I don't want to mess around with that AI. I don't know what what they doing with my data, and I get that. But at the same time, it kind of put us behind the 8 ball in terms of like just getting in these doors and like getting these opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
So going through these spaces and everything, are you often noticing that you're like the only one or like one of a few?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely you pick up on it, and so you just kind of have to be like hyper aware, of course. As you probably understand, especially when you work in an office environment around other people, you got to be aware of how other people perceive you.
Definitely.
Just as you walk through the hall, so just exchanging pleasantries, just greeting people, remembering people's names, just trying to like, be as, I guess, a good person, I guess, as possible, because it's so easy for them to just like
put you in a
box. Like you aggressive, you gonna be like, that's the person I need to avoid, or they be tiptoeing around you and they say the wrong things, and so you just kind of gotta be like hyper aware.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, not so much now. Where I'm at with it now, I just be like, I'm not code switching no more. I would use less slang and stuff like that. But I'm gonna talk how I talk, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna, especially with my general team, like if I'm doing a demo or something like that, I want you to fully understand what I'm saying, so I'm not gonna, But as far as like my day-to-day, the people I work with directly and shit, like I'm not code switching, like I'm not doing it no more. But I definitely relate to like early on in my career, like like you said, like just trying to make sure that you don't put that stereotype on you. And it's ass really, but like, I mean, what you gonna do? So like, being somebody that worked in the financial industry and the tech industry, how do you compare those two fields as far as like being black and everything?
I mean, both of those, I would say, it's a very similar experience. To be honest, it's very, very little representation in both spaces. Especially as you move up, like
right, yeah.
In positions. Like once you start to get promoted, like you'll see like it's very few. And so I just, you know what I mean, I always just try to like show other people that I know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and if you want to get in, like, here, I'm always about to slide a referral, you know what I mean, like we talked about, like, and yeah, I've definitely helped some other people get into both spaces, and like it's been good for them, but yeah, I would say it's definitely very similar in terms of it's few of us in both finance and tech.
I honestly thought you was gonna say it's a little more financing, or finances. I feel like, I don't know, it's just something like we mentioned, the exposure thing. So like, what do you think? Where do you think that lack of exposure comes from? Like we mentioned, like, you know, people being a little more skeptical and stuff like that. But like, where do you see that? So
I guess allow me to clarify, because I think there is a lot of representation, or there is more representation, I would say, in the government space.
I've heard that
because it's more like a global thing. So you have like a mix of everything, right? Like, but then I would say in the private sector is definitely way less representation. But then of course, like on the small business side, like there can be some, and so like again, just working with different, you know what I mean, people in all three sectors, I think you notice like the private sector for sure stands out, where it's like we really just not in there.
I feel that, and it's crazy you said that, because my one man, he do computer security too, and he well, like that's what he specialized in. That's like what he graduated with and everything. So he told me like when you work with the Army and everything, it was really diverse, and it makes sense, because like you think about like the incentives for like going to school and stuff like that. A lot of people of color, a lot of like lower income areas, if I didn't get my scholarship, I'd have probably went that route. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. You get to the government portion of it, and you're going to see more people. It's going to be a little more diverse. And then, like you said, the private sector, and then like you saying that immediately made me think of like my different contracts and stuff. And it's definitely been like that, like for sure. That's crazy.
What's the most amount of people you worked on, like that was on like a contract at one time that you worked on?
Like black people?
Yeah.
Shit. Maybe like on my team, or just in general, like people I see?
Just people you see.
People I see is either my first job or my current job. When I was working the Wells Fargo contract, it was no black people on that floor, bro. Like I was the only one. I'm trying to picture it right now. There's a lot of Indian people. I love Indian people. There's nothing wrong with that. They on it. Like they in tech for real.
They in tech,
White people, some like East Asians, and then that was like the absolute least amount of black people I've seen was working there. And then I'll say my first contract, that was Northrop Grumman, so that was like a defense contractor type of thing. So definitely was a little more diverse. And then my job now is pretty. I'll say I see more black people than I usually would. But like, that's my first time being asked that. But that one job, nobody, bro. I used to be in that shit by myself. That shit crazy. So
yo, side note, sorry, I had the nerd one this year. I was like, what's your policy on Juneteenth?
What they say?
They didn't have one yet. I think they said next year. I think they was going to look at implementing it. But I think this was the first year. Like it's been like a full year since it's been like a national holiday. You know what I mean? But they're not thinking about it. Like
We actually got Juneteenth this year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But then again, here I go in the meeting explaining what Juneteenth is. My product owner, I fuck with her, don't get me wrong, but she was like Googling Juneteenth, and I'm like, that's cool. But then I'm like, let me just explain what this is. You know what I'm saying? But then it's also like, obviously I didn't have to explain it, but being in those types of situations where it's like, let me just explain it so that y'all don't go getting some wrong information or something like that.
Yeah.
So like little stuff like that, it just be like, ain't the worst thing. Ain't nobody calling me nigger or nothing like that, but like, it's definitely little stuff that you gotta deal with. I'm saying.
Like, do you feel like a responsibility? It's like almost like a responsibility to. Like,
I try not to, but yeah, especially with the one boy I work with, he tends to like generalize a lot, and I hate like broad generalizations. I hate it so much. So, being black and certain stuff he say, I feel like I gotta set the record straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like that. Like you don't know. So like one time, he said something talking about like something about the ghetto or something like that. Somehow we started talking about like guns or something, like gun control or something like that. And he said something about the ghetto. I'm just like, what do you mean by ghetto? Like, what do you mean by that? When people call stuff ghetto or say like, I always be confused by like, are you just associating black people with ghetto? Like, what is that? And just like little stuff like that. But he's like a one-off. Like, he's somebody that he just don't got no filter. Yeah. For the most part, everybody is very respectful. Yeah. So, but yeah, like sometimes you do kind of feel like you gotta be the. Cause if you don't say something, who gonna say something?
It's just you in that joint. Like, half the time it just be you on the floor. Right. So it's like you gotta address some shit. You know what I mean?
If you don't want to do that shit, but then it's like you let it slide, then it's a slippery slope. Yeah. Niggas gonna keep saying little things here and there. Next thing you know, you snapping out.
Right, and now you look like the aggressor. Right. You end up losing your situation because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like either those little things, you nip them early, or it's going to end up being something big. And you gotta catch that shit. So, have you had those moments where you had to like set the record straight or like shut something down?
Yeah. It's always, I don't know what it is for whatever reason, but Caucasian people have struggled to pronounce my name. And
what do they say?
So they pronounce it like Tariq, like
Y?
Yeah, like Tariq Hill. You know what I mean? Like how he would spell it, but it's Tariq.
Tariq, yeah.
I mean, but like they just like, it's not a name that they hear every day, so they brains like once they're an adult, it's like hard for them to like train themselves into like learning new names. Most people just forget about it. You know what I mean? They just be like, I'm not good with names. I'm not a names person. I gotta see their face. That's what they say. You know what I mean?
So do you like correct them each time? Like how do you handle that?
Yeah, you gotta like nip it in the butt. Like as soon as they say it like the wrong the first time, you gotta be like, nope. Like this is how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you could say all them like German type names and stuff like that. You could say Tariq. Like it's not that hard.
It's 5 letters.
So what about like working at like Apple and stuff like that? Have you had any or I don't know if you want to be too specific there, but because that's a lot more customers service facing. So.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, luckily I will say because it's Apple and everybody in the world has iPhones, like just billions of people with iPhones, so you experience a lot of diversity there. But you do get different pockets of people that like you said, they'll try to generalize, and different cultures are, there's different customs in different cultures, and so you see certain cultures bleeding into what they got going on in the store. And so like, of course, being black, you relate to certain cultures, you don't relate to other ones, and certain demographics of people you rock with, certain ones you don't really vibe as naturally with. But yeah, for sure you do see a lot of it in that environment for sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like customer service in general can be on some weird shit. But for the most part, I feel like I definitely, especially now that I've been doing this, I see more black people interested in tech, and I've been through like Instagram and everything able to connect with more people. So I think part of it is definitely like finding that community for yourself, or just getting that more exposure to like other people in similar, predicaments or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I felt very isolated until I started doing this. And while my job doesn't have as many black people as I might want, I'm able to find that community somewhere else.
Facts.
So,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a bar right there, though. Sure. Nah, real rap. You gotta find your tribe. You know what I'm saying?
Bro. You really do. That's why I love doing this, John. Like just being able to talk about this shit, and you know what I'm saying. We talking how we talk, and just talking about like the real shit. Like I fuck with it. I love this shit so much.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool. It sounded like overall you had a pretty good experience. Like nothing too crazy.
Nah, yeah, nothing really out of my that's been totally out of my control. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, everything been within my control. So
no, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into. All right, that's a good little segue. So, speaking of things being in your control, out of your control, what are some adversity or obstacles that you had to overcome throughout your journey to get to where you're at now?
I mean, I was laid off from another job, like over some petty stuff. You know what I mean, with the ownership. So that was one of those things where it's just like, now you gotta figure it out. Like we talked about, like when this contract over, like when this work is done, like it's cold out here in November.
Right.
You know what I mean? You gotta figure out December. You know what I mean? You gotta figure out how to eat.
No real shit.
So yeah, definitely getting laid off. But then again, it just.
What year was that? Was that
21?
Okay.
21, yeah. I want to say it was 21. It was like the end of 21. But yeah, I mean, it just again forces you to like, one, just look back at everything, all the experience that you had.
Yeah.
Now I was lucky at the time. I was also working at UPS. I had just like got some little side like package handler stuff at that time, because it was it was during COVID, so
Right.
you still needed to get something. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely a tough time, because it was just like after that you just gotta figure it out. I'm just doing side jobs, side gigs, just making bread here and there, keep the lights on for sure.
Dude, bro. Yeah, it was a couple of times where I had to I don't want to say too much because you're recording, but I had to do little shit to get some money on the side, between contracts and shit like that.
Facts.
Yeah. So definitely relate to that. How do you mentally though? How do you deal with that? Because it sounds like you still had the mindset of like I gotta get it done.
Yeah.
So like, how do you keep yourself from getting too like depressed or anything about that type of situation? Like, how do you keep yourself grounded with that?
I mean, for real, for me, it's more or less just continuing to study myself. I feel like I gotta like continue to learn myself the older I get, and just learn like different habits. Like I didn't realize until after I got out of college, like my learning style, like what kind of a learner I was, and the fact that like, like we went to school. If you went to public school, you went to like a certain construct of education that like. It just didn't work for me. Like I'm more of an auditory learner,
right.
So I need to listen to things. I need to be able to like pause it, go back, re-listen. Like that's my personal habits. But some people more visual learners. Some people need to see it. Some people need to like write it down. Some people need to actually do it. So, I had to study myself to figure out like, different things about myself. And then part of that is like you said, finding that kind of like that mindset of like, all right, you gotta get to it. You know what I mean? It's no other way. It's no plan B. You know what I mean? It's plan A, and it's gotta work.
Right. No, that's great advice. Like finding your way of like learning. Like you said, I'm a visual learner. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to like be able to close my eyes, picture it in my head. Like that's how I do shit. But it's interesting that you brought up you didn't learn it until after school.
Facts.
Like, damn, imagine how useful that would have been during school. Like, you could have been recording your classes,
right,
listening to them back and stuff like that. Like,
but they just telling you to take notes. They just telling you write it down. Well, maybe I'm not a person that can, you know what I mean, follow along with my notes after I write them down. Like, maybe I just need to play it. But again, it's not really conducive to different styles of learning. It's really just meant for like one style of learning.
Yeah, now you mentioned earlier some restructuring for the education system. I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's more so like it sounds like it's like knowing yourself and learning yourself and growing. It kind of keeps you in a way in a good place where you know that you're gonna be good. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
I mean, definitely. Of course, keeping a solid community, like you said, find your tribe. Like if you got solid people around you, definitely finding some mentors. Definitely finding people.
Mentors, they keep coming up.
Yeah, definitely finding mentors, people that like, you know what I mean, that you want to see yourself like being in the next 3 to 5 years. And so yeah, combination of those things for sure.
No, that's great advice, bro. All right, so we talked about the. Very good. We talked about the wedding stuff you got going on, the contracting type of work you got going on. So, where do you see yourself going 5 years, 10 years, 20 plus years from now? With we want to talk about life in general, because we talked about properties and stuff earlier. So you want to talk about life in general, or work shit, or whatever you want to get into.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the next 5 to 10 years, definitely just continuing to scale. You know what I mean? All the different things that we got going on. So for sure with the wedding space, just trying to expand into different regions and really have like a concentrated, like dedicated, like destination type of like service. You know what I mean? We definitely want to be doing like consistent destination, because we get the question a lot when we do the bridal shows. Like, yeah, we going to Greece, or yeah, we going to this country, or we going to Mexico. You know what I mean? We going here. That's the thing. People love traveling now.
That'd be crazy.
Like, more than everything. Every time we go on Instagram, somebody traveling somewhere. So destination weddings is really where it's at. So, and again, it's a lot of bread. You know what I mean? Obviously involved. Crazy, bro. But just that level of clientele is
right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
is the clientele that's like I'm consistently looking to be working with. And yeah, so from that front, yeah, just kind of expanding from more I would say to like from a regional, because I would say we like mid-Atlantic at this point. Like that's kind of the area we primarily serve, so to more of like a national presence. You know what I mean? Being able to go different states, different coasts, and so yeah, essentially just having different offices. You know what I mean? Being able to manage the production at those different offices.
That would be so tough.
Yeah.
What about like in the tech space? So
in the tech space, definitely, bro, I'm big on cybersecurity. I'm gonna keep screaming it to the heavens. Like it's really the most important thing is data. And like it's people paying so much for data nowadays. And so just understanding how to protect that and understanding how much it's worth. Like, I tell the story I learned in that boot camp. With Equifax had that breach. Like people don't understand. Like Equifax had that breach. That means that your name, your birthday, your social security number, your address, your email address, your phone, like every
all your PIIs.
Yeah, that's on your credit report. Like all of that information was leaked. Right, and so of course they were fined a few mil for that incident, but. Imagine that.
Damage is done.
Damage is done, right? Yeah. I mean, your bank account information could get hacked, and boom. Now what? You know what I mean? And so I think it's so much in the future. You're gonna see a lot more people just being susceptible to scams, especially the older community. Yeah. Especially the 55 and up community, because they don't have the will to like want to continue to learn the new technologies that what I mean. They just kind of eventually some people just get set in their ways and they just say put their hands up and they say I'm done.
Yeah. So do you see yourself working somewhere full time doing that, or kind of doubling back and doing something similar to what you were doing with your friend, helping like the older people?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely for me it's less of the corporate space. I definitely would prefer to partner with corporations, and essentially, outsource like different trainings and different speaking engagements, within the tech space. So, but yeah, just really, playing on my natural talents. Of course, like I said, I'm a communicator, I'm a natural communicator. So I just try to play into those skill sets. So, I mean, even now, like just doing little holiday staff parties, right? I could spend, what I mean, for that, and that'll keep me, ingrained in that culture even more so. So for me, it's about just designing a life that's like based around the passions that I have and the things that I'm into. And I know that of course that money's gonna flow like naturally once you do a good job and you've been in it long enough. But just really, like just kind of designing the life around like what I'm passionate about.
Designing the life around your passions. That's like literally what I'm trying to do. Bro, I never put it in words like that, but like that's literally what I'm trying to do. Like
I wish I didn't have to wait to learn this concept so late. Not that I learned it late, but I wish I learned this in school. Like imagine if you came up in school and you just had your whole curriculum based on what you was passionate about, what you wanted to be when you grew up. Like I didn't need to learn MC squared, MX or A squared plus B squared. I didn't need to learn all that stuff. Like, I needed to learn what's relevant to me right now. And if I could choose that, instead of having like, the standardized, you had to take the SATs, you had to take, like everybody had to take these tests that's just not relevant after you take them. You know what I mean?
No, you might want to, at some point, 10 years, 20 or whatever, kind of see if you could do something with maybe the school district or something like that. Maybe where you could do like some type of curriculum where you, I think I was talking to my dad and he was talking about how like, I think it's Dobbins. They had like a different like trades type stuff that people can learn, not just like the Y equals MX plus B, like all the random stuff we learned. I can't tell you the last time I needed to know the angle of the hypotenuse and all this other shit, but there's a lot of stuff I'm doing now that I definitely would have benefited from knowing back then.
Big time.
So I think you definitely should maybe put some of your ideas down. And then like you see, cause it's possible. Like getting with them and seeing if you could like try some of your curriculum out somewhere. I think it would be worth it. Cause you saying some good shit. Like
nah, it's crazy. I don't even know if we even talked about this. So I actually did develop one really? Specifically for DJing. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it's just really about me finding the right opportunity and finding the right like.
But you got it, John. Done?
Yeah, I already got it done. It's already crisp. You know what I mean? It's just waiting to find the right opportunity, the right, timing, the right the right infrastructure. Yeah. I mean, I got to reach out, and then again, it's got to be the right timing. But yeah, we definitely got to get in touch with some people back. You know what I mean?
Bro,
back in.
That's tough. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Like you already got that joint ready. You might as well. You know what I'm saying? That would be a perfect little thing. That exposure. Kid might not even know that they into that until they see you talk about it.
Right. But imagine what if you 14 and now you realize you can make bread because you on Twitch streaming.
Right.
Like,
dog.
Not saying that like you don't need to go to college, but again, like all the gen eds and all the other big bull nonsense that you gotta take is crazy, right? Like,
yeah. If it's stuff now that I do that if I had started when I was a young boy, I'd be out of pocket. Right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's tough. Yeah, you gotta. Just, I would say maybe SLA because they know you. You know what I'm saying? So it'd probably be a little easier to make that happen.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up. So, and I guess like 20 plus years, and this is something I've been asking people, what does retirement look like for you? Like, do you see yourself sitting still? It seems like you kind of always gonna have that like, I wanna grow, I wanna evolve and keep, continue with what I'm doing. So what does retirement look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird concept, right? I don't really think. Like, I feel like whenever you retire, that's when like everything stops for you, and it's like your life starts to decline. And I feel like even like some of the richest people in the world, like, I mean, Charlie Munger, rest in peace, he just died the other day, but was 99 years old. He's a billionaire. So it's like like they still working. Like, you know what I mean, no matter how old you are. Now it might look differently, right? Like
right.
that work might just be like 2 or 3 meetings a day, but the meetings is on like high level stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, it's worth it. Be out. I don't really think retirement is like a real thing, especially not from a standpoint of like just collecting a check from the government every month. Yeah, like it's Social Security gonna be, you know what I mean, done well before we even get to that point.
We're not touching that money.
Like, I'm just being realistic about it. Like, if you expecting a handout from the government, it's not gonna be there by the time we get there.
Definitely not.
So I'm already mentally like, I just got to do stuff that I enjoy doing. You know what I mean? And it's not gonna feel like work.
Right. Love that. That's how I feel too. Like, regardless, I'm gonna be doing something with music, something with computers. I don't know what.
Boy, yeah.
But I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, designing your life around your passions. That's bro. You might have to put that shit on the t-shirt. That's a good job. All right, where we at? All right, so I've been like combining these last 2 joints now, so we can start wrapping up. But so like, what tips do you have for somebody that might be on a similar journey, doing contracts? Like, just any tips you might have for somebody, and then like your final words, like your parting words and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that one of the biggest tips I could give is just, you know what I mean, just be mindful of the skills. Like, you could work a job, but even more so from the job, that, like, take from it the skill set from the job. So like, even from my job, like, I'm not only am I working with tech, but I'm also working with logistics. So I'm taking the logistical aspect of it, or I'm understanding budgets because we ordering X amount of supplies every month. So like, now when I go and put on my resume and I'm looking for a new position, I can not only say that I have the experience from like my day-to-day operations here, but I understand how everything else works around it. You know what I mean, to catapult me to my next opportunity. And then just being available for the next opportunity, you know, not being afraid to just jump out there, you know what I mean? I would say that those are probably the two biggest ones.
Those are some great Johns.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was that Rich Dad Poor Dad book or something like that. Both said work to learn, not to earn. That's something that stuck with me. So like you said, like, you're there to do this job, but like, it's so many other different things that you could be picking up on.
Facts.
So like, don't just go to just learn this one thing. Like, pick up as many things as you can, because that's going to catapult you forward. Like, that's top notch right there.
And I'll just say, like, be a good person. Honestly, like, I can't tell you how many clients I've now had, like, swear, just DJing from different other jobs that I had. You know what I mean? So like, your coworkers now could become your clients because they have a trust in you. If you do your job well and they, you know what I mean, respect your work ethic, they could be that's the quickest way to turn, like, you know what I mean, your coworkers into your clients, because they already trust you.
Right.
Because they done worked alongside you. So it's, I definitely would say, like, you know what I mean, keep solid relationships, be a good person, don't burn bridges, you know what I mean, unnecessarily if you don't have to. And
Damn, bro. Good shit, dog. That's some good jokes. A few clips that I'm definitely gonna be able to pull out of this shit for sure. All right, so you want to plug anything before we drop? Like your wedding, John. DJing, John. Like, you got some shit going on. So like, you want to plug anything?
Yeah, I guess you can follow me, my DJ page, DJ T Vibe. Vibe is with a Y, VYBE. And then the company is Supreme Weddings. Supreme Weddings.
I'll throw it up on the screen and everything.
Yeah, Supreme Weddings. And you can follow us pretty much on all major socials. And I mean, if anybody is looking to partner, I definitely have, you know what I mean, the course and the curriculum ready to go.
Yeah,
if anybody's looking to learn how to, you know what I mean, spend and actually make it into like a profitable business, right? And like, you know, transform your life. You know what I mean? We could definitely, we could work that out. I am offering mentorship there. And
damn, bro. I love this shit.
Appreciate it.
I love this shit so much.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you coming and taking the time to do this joint again.
Nah, this was dope.
Nah, this is a great job. I'm so happy we did this shit in person.
Facts.
Let me think. Nah, that's it. That's been another episode of the My Tech Story series. Y'all be safe.
Peace.
And if you thought I was done, then you tripping. Tell me how many bars I gotta spit for you to see what you been missing. Fifth volume in a row, no, you finally see the vision. Gotta be the greatest, no discussions, no decisions.